December 24th, 2011, so Christmas Eve, 26-year-old Zazel Preston sat on her bed in her little apartment in Anaheim, California, and wrapped Christmas gifts for her children. Laying next to her was her newest addition to the family, a 7-week-old little boy. After wrapping her final present, Zazel hopped off the bed, she scooped up her little boy, and then she headed out into the living room where she met up with her husband and her 2 older children, aged 3 and 8, and then they all headed outside and went next door to celebrate Christmas Eve at a party with their neighbors. Early the next morning, so on Christmas Day, Zazel's 2 oldest children got up early and they rushed out of their bedrooms and they ran down the hallway into the living room where their parents were waiting for them on the couch along with their baby brother. The little girls squealed with delight and ran around the couch and took up spots right underneath the Christmas tree, and they grabbed their first present. And so the girls happily began tearing into the festive wrapping, and then after each of them had their brand new toy in hand, they turned around reflexively to show their parents. And then when the girls, they look at their mother and they show her the toys, she doesn't even react. They start yelling for their mom, "Hey mom, check it out, look at this new toy." Finally, the 8-year-old turns to William and says, "What's wrong with mommy?" And at this point, William pauses and very bluntly saying to these young kids, "Mommy got drunk and now she's ruined Christmas." And so the little girls, they turned away from their parents and began opening more presents, doing their best not to disturb their parents. And then a few minutes later, there was a loud knock on the front door. The night before, after Zazel and William and their kids had left their neighbor's party and come back to their apartment, neighbors would recall late at night on Christmas Eve hearing this very loud commotion coming from Zazel and William's apartment. And then as the sun came up on Christmas Day, Zazel and William had made their way to the couch, waiting for their 2 oldest to wake up and come open presents. When their 2 little girls came out of their bedrooms and bombed into the living room to begin celebrating, only William was alive. Zazel had been beaten to death by William. And after he had beaten her to death the night before, he had dragged her into the living room, set her up on the couch to make it look like she was sitting, and then put sunglasses on her eyes in order to trick the children. And so all morning, she was dead the whole time. William realized his charade was not going to last because his kids were really keyed in to there being something wrong with their mother. And so that was when he got up and he called 911 and he told them that his wife had gotten drunk and fallen into a glass coffee table, and so she was hurt. And so a little bit later, the police and paramedics, they arrive, they go inside, and right away they can tell William is lying to them. There's more to this story than they're being told. And so ultimately, William would be convicted of second-degree murder, and he would be sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. As for Zazel's 3 children, they are now being looked after by her parents.